Friday NBA slate. Look, it's nice to only have a 9-gamer, but we don't have a ton of time because Sheets is on a time crunch, so we want to get to it. Let's pull up your screen sheets and go game by game. But I just want to say personally, I'm happy about the slate being not a 14 gamer, not a 13 gamer. It's just been getting a little bit weird lately, is all I can say. So I'm excited to 9 games feels more manageable. Even that is still a high number, but let's get into it whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Actually, last night, even in the 2-gamer, I got like third in like the slam for a couple of thousand. That wasn't bad.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so let me get my.
Yeah, I did not do well last night. Did not have the right pieces. Had the right pieces, just didn't have all the right pieces together.
A 2-game slate. That's kind of what you have to probably put it all together.
I was so happy with like I didn't care. I just was so happy with the ownership, like on Connaughton and stuff. I didn't even like. I mean, obviously you want to win, but like you gotta trust the process.
No, absolutely.
So,
all right.
So why don't we got Charlotte, Washington to start it off. Do you have your notes ready, or do you want me to start?
I do. I do. So like I'm looking right now, and I guess once again, we're going to go back to LaMelo Ball. I mean, he's not like that free 8,800 or whatever he was the other day.
Right.
But this is the same game, I presume. It's the same game. The Harlem Globetrotters Part 2. Rozier remains out. I imagine that I'm going to play the same dudes that I did before, and that would be LaMelo and even, I mean, they're up a little bit in price, but whatever. I mean, Hayward again. And then I would go right back to the guy who did perform for me. That would be Kuzma. And I'll go right back to the guy who didn't perform for me. That would be Jordan Poole. So I think this all looks very familiar to me. Didn't we play all these the other day?
Yeah, we had.
This is that thing, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the in-game tournament. Is that why everybody's playing the same thing?
That's partially, yeah.
Okay, I'm like, whoa, what the hell happened? I should just cut and paste the same lineups because I think I did well that night.
Yeah.
So same stuff as far as I'm concerned. Once again, so LaMelo, Gordon Hayward, Kuzma, Poole. I mean, am I missing something?
No. That's pretty much the way I have it. Like too, the thing that's annoying is that the Poole thing. Oh boy, watching it in real time, like he only played 20 minutes the other night. It's pretty awful to watch. He's always one hot streak away though from having this monstrous game, which is going to keep him in my potential pool. I think this is a game you could definitely would get away with. Not get away with. You'd want to stack in a number of different ways. I have Kuzma as the number one. I have Ball as the number one, and Kuzma as the number one on the other side. But I think that you want to mix in some Abdia, some Poole, some Gafford, and even some Mark Williams. I'm going to have exposure to. You want to attack these game environments when they come up. They play really, really fast. And even Tyus Jones as well. So I just think that I'm going to have a lot of exposure here. But the priorities being Kuzma and LaMelo as of right now. Again, you could throw Gordon Hayward into that. Again, I don't quite have him as a priority today. And even LaMelo, as you mentioned, a little more expensive. It's just hard to ignore the matchup. You hope the game stays close, and you might get everything. If not everybody else for Washington can hit, like all the sub guys comes in and hit threes, which is sort of what kept Poole out of the game. But and he played horrible. I still think we're going to see that Jordan Poole game coming. It's getting a little bit more and more frustrating to try and chase it. All right. Philadelphia, Detroit. This what are we going to do with these Detroit guys in general? I'll go real quick first on this one. I think Embiid, as usual, is a very, very strong play. I would border on calling him like my favorite spend. We'll talk about spend ups. I mean, it's just as of right now, the guys we've talked about, he is just behind LaMelo for me. I'm kind of like looking at the other side of what to do with everybody with the pricing and everything the way it is. I think it's mostly just going to be a stay away from me, with the exception of maybe taking a shot on Jalen Duren. We've seen centers have games against Embiid this year, and Jalen Duren is a really high upside play. I probably won't do it, but just that's the only other one that really came across. And as always, I think you could take shots on Tyrese Maxey if you're not playing Embiid. I wouldn't play them together, but Maxey put up 46, 46, and 50 his last 3 games. I don't know why we think he'd stop now, so Embiid or Maxey being the best part of this game for me. I can't quite figure out what to do with Detroit.
Yeah. So last time, I just got to go back. I mean, last time they played this game, it was a different slate, but Embiid was like 8% owned, and he scored 75 fantasy points in 3 quarters.
Yep.
I imagine that that's in play again today. So, and today he's not fighting. Oh, he is. No. I think
the difference is he doesn't have. Embiid in this matchup. What? I'm gonna look. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I know what I was doing. No, I don't know what I was doing wrong.
Oh no, he put. Was it? No, it wasn't this one. It's Washington.
My bad. Yeah.
Okay. So I will. He's not battling Jokic though for top spend today. He's battling Luka. And listen, he's going to be in play for me like every day. So I definitely like Embiid. And Detroit guys, I mean, I really don't have much of anything. I guess Durant 6,500 if I have to, but probably off the Detroit guys.
Yeah, I think Durant, and then I think if you want to take a shot, Cade Cunningham is always a guy you can take a shot on. But I want to revisit the Maxey thing one more time. I actually think Maxey's being pretty underprojected for every game. I mean, what is he averaging on the season? I mean, yes, he had one down one, but for him to be have 39 as his median just feels low to me. And I feel like you could make it a good. I mean, he's averaging 47 in a game this season. This feels a little bit like the Scotty Barnes thing. So I do want to make Embiid or Maxey a little bit of a stronger look on those guys.
Okay, so I'm not hallucinating. So I thought I had missed something. Going into the last game Philadelphia played, I was hearing that Tobias Harris is having a really, really good year. And I'm like, okay, let me look into this. I mean,
but you can't look at fantasy stats for having a good year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, I know, but people were saying in terms of being fantasy relevant, I'm like, the guy still doesn't do anything for me.
No, he's been great. He was like 4,800 to start the season.
Oh, okay.
Okay. He's been absolutely awesome in real life. He's making literally like 70% of his shots.
Yeah, I'm not playing him. Okay, so all right, I was double checking that. You want to? So Brooklyn, Boston. Just after I posted sheets, I saw that Horford was ruled out. I guess, and oh my God, also Cam Thomas is out, and Simmons is out. All right, so I'm listen. So ignore my sheets for now. I imagine that all this stuff is going to be in play, right? What do we got? Bridges,
Dennis Smith Jr.,
Dinwiddie, Dennis Smith Jr., even Lonnie Walker, maybe. He's expensive, 5,900. I don't know.
For what it's
worth,
Johnson's back.
What's that?
Cam Johnson is back, so it's not like they lost all of the body. Like they lost the other two who are the usage guys, but Cam Johnson should be back in playing.
I mean, and there's also like
huge
legitimate blowout risk here.
like tough to see it not happening type of blowout risk, which is why Dennis Smith Jr. makes perfect sense.
He sure does, doesn't he?
I think that he's going to be the guy who I end up rolling with some of as the day goes on, and is a great value option. I think that there is definitely a floor that is scary, but there's a ceiling that is basically undeniable. So I'm Dennis Smith Jr. for a guy who's been kind of somewhat of a bust in the NBA has probably made more people in DFS money than anybody else. Like he just has the occasional 50 fantasy point games. This feels like a good spot for him. They need a usage guy. Okay. They don't have it. So Mikal Bridges if the game stays close and Dennis Smith Jr. Do you have anything from Boston?
No. Tatum is my favorite, but I mean, I don't think I can get to him over LaMelo or Embiid or Luka. Or even Durant. I don't know. I think the blowout risk is real here, and I don't know. I just don't think I'm going to do it. I'd be more inclined to play one of these stupid blowout guys like Pritchard or something like that, but probably not going to get to that.
Yeah, let me just check. Why is Dinwiddie not projecting a little bit better? It feels like he's being a little underprojected. Not that I want to play him, but I do think there's a path if you wanted to play we're missing these guys angle to potentially play like 3 Brooklyn guys. Probably would be some combination of Dinwiddie, Bridges, and maybe Day'Ron Sharpe or something like that. And on the other side, you run one of the Boston guys. it makes sense to me. You stack and hope it stays close. And my favorite Boston guy would be Derek White, followed by Jaylen Brown, followed by Tatum. But all three of those, I think, are pretty decent plays. And I even think that Drew Holiday is a decent play. So you have guys that if you wanted to do the Brooklyn stack with 3 or 4, it's not a bad idea to maybe take that shot in some of your lineups. I'm not going to make that a priority, but it's something to consider. But I agree with you. I think the blowout is. And by the way, these games, these spreads this year where it's been like 9-10, we're seeing the games end up at like 30-40 every time. It's like so many blowouts. All right, Utah, Memphis. What do you got, Cheats?
Yeah, you know what? If people want to play Bismack Biyombo as chalk, that's their right. I'm not doing it. He's projecting right now as my top point per dollar play. Doesn't this feel like just the ultimate like sucker play of the year? I don't know. I'll wait. I'll finish and then you can comment on that. But Jaren Jackson looks reasonable. Desmond Bane looks reasonable, both for Memphis. And boy, I'm not getting too much on the Utah side here. You know who I played the other night? Who I don't know who he ended up. He started off pretty well. Was the Luke Kennard? Oh, he kind of fizzled out, but he did play 27 minutes.
Yeah.
I might go back to that. That felt really good when I made the play. And nobody played him, and he was kind of off to a decent start. And listen, the 27 to 32 minutes, that's kind of his range. And I don't know. I'm kind of into that one. I don't know why. But tell me about this Bismack Biyombo chalk and what we're doing with it.
Memphis have been the worst team in basketball this season, and they don't have any rim protect. They don't have any true center. So they literally they picked up Bismack off of nothing. He's played 26 and 29 minutes. He's a good fantasy point per minute producer. He's averaging 27. I have no issue with playing Bismack. But I also don't think I'm going to make him like my necessarily. He's not going to necessarily be in all my lineups. Like maybe some people would say lock him in. I think this is a really good matchup for everybody on the Memphis side. I actually think Kennard is going to be popular tonight. But I don't think it's any problem with it. Like Kennard, Marcus Smart, Bane. This game is a sneaky stack game, even though I can't figure out how to do it. The only things that I've got Biyombo, I've got Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. in play. I've got Desmond Bane as a reasonably good play. Kennard, Marcus Smart. There's a lot of guys that I have on my list pretty high, and also Zaire Williams is questionable. And then you have Utah, who's already missing Walker Kessler. I have Keontae George, one of Keontae George or Clarkson. Maybe you can get Fringy and play Sexton or THT, but I think Keontae George or Clarkson is the way I'm looking at Utah. And right now, Bismack and Triple J are my favorites on Memphis. But I'm also going to have the Kennard, Smart, Bane. I just have to decide later in the day what I want to do with those guys because I think they all are in a pretty good spot to have a decent game here against Utah at home. So, yeah, sort of a lot of guys who I'm open to playing, but nobody who I have quite as a priority yet.
What about
you could argue Bismack though.
Yeah, I got another horrible play for you in this game. How about the Santi Aldama?
So I actually like Aldama. I'm curious how much they're going to let him run, and how does it work? Like because he played 19, then he played 26, which is pretty uplifting, and maybe that kills some of Bismack. Maybe they can go small because it's not really a true center on the other side. Maybe it isn't. You know what? I'm going to put Aldama on my list here, Sheets. I think that's a good idea. I'm with that idea. Because we could see it shift from Bismack to Aldama. You don't have to use up a center spot. Same price, basically. And there's no reason Aldama doesn't play 30 minutes tonight and maybe Bismack only plays 15 or 20. That's very possible. Good mention on the Aldama. I think it's a good idea. Staggered games tonight until we got the multi-late hammer thing. But all right, Clippers and Dallas. I'm sorry, New Orleans and Houston, right?
I have Minnesota.
Am I going backwards? Oh yeah, I went the wrong way. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have Minnesota.
All right, that one off for us then.
Yeah, Zach Collins, I guess, looks all right. Let me just see what. No, okay. So all these Minnesota guys. So Mike Conley, 4,800. He has a decent projection. Gobert, I guess. then back to Zach Collins. Let me see if there's anything else here that's standing out here. Boy, I don't know. I feel like I should do something, but then again, like we said, Minnesota is not your grandfather's Minnesota anymore. It's then again, San Antonio, on the other hand, they're not particularly interested in playing any defense. So
yeah,
corner of my projections, I'm not really getting much of anything. I feel like I should though, but right now it's like Mike Conley, who I don't want to play. That's pretty much all I have from this game.
I like everybody on Minnesota today.
There
you have the best defensive team versus arguably the worst offensive team. I'm sorry, the worst defensive team in the NBA. Right there with Indiana, San Antonio is very close. I don't know. It's harder to prioritize them because you don't want to play like Naz Reid very often with Gobert, but occasionally they end up playing together some. I don't know if I want to get to town. The price is too tempting on all of them, but it's because they're deep and they're a really good basketball team. They've shot up for a lot of people. A lot of people are talking about them as legitimate title contenders. I actually don't have an issue with that. I don't think it's going to end up that way. But the place, I just have Minnesota. I'm going to play at least one guy probably on most of my teams because there's just too many guys for them not to get there. I just don't know whether it's going to be. I think Gobert and Conley, who project the best, are guys I'm a little less interested in. And Gobert actually I have interest in. I really like Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards has scored 50 in over 3 games in a row. This is about as nuts of a matchup as you can have. It's on the road, so hopefully it can stay close. And Anthony Edwards, has been unbelievable. He's taken the next step. He's one of the best 15 players in the NBA, without a doubt, I think. And maybe you could argue even higher. So I like the idea of getting Edwards here. But I have sprinkles of everybody. I have Kyle Anderson, Naz Reid. Early on, it looks like everybody. On the other side, it's just I know I'm going to play a little bit of Wembanyama no matter what, and you're going to have very mixed results. But even against a tough on paper defensive matchup, it's really not that tough for him because he's going to face Towns and Reid, who both don't play defense, capable of it, but they don't really play. Although Towns has been much better this year to defend him. I don't think I'm getting to anybody else on San Antonio as of right now. And a little disappointed because I thought this could have been another game stack. But mostly it's just all the Minnesota guys look like reasonable plays. My favorite is Anthony Edwards, but nobody quite makes a priority core playlist for me. All right, next up. What do we have?
Houston. I have New Orleans and Houston.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start with a kind of a stupid take, I guess. So I don't really see anything the way things currently look here, except maybe, once again, going back to Jordan Hawkins, even though at 5,600, but I still think that's reasonable for him. But aside from that, there's a couple of things that I'll comment. Number one is I do like Sengun in general at 7,700, but he legitimately sprained his ankle in his last game, and he's questionable. If he's out, then a couple of things happen. Number one, you could end up with Jock Landale at 3,400. It might be chalk, might be good chalk. I don't even know. Or is it possible? We saw 6 minutes out of Boban in his last game. If they start him, it'll be a fun time for somebody. Probably not going to happen, but I figured I'd throw it out there. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that if Sengun is out, or even if he isn't, Zion, if he plays, if he's back, he could eat in this game. I don't know if 8,800, whatever, but if Sengun is not the greatest defender in the world, and if he's out too, I don't know, man. I think that some big from New Orleans should be able to do something, and Valanciunas just doesn't play enough minutes to do it. I think Zion could have a big day today. So those are kind of my comments. We got to watch for Sengun because he's out. Then Landale will start at 3,300, and then you have to figure that out. Yeah, I'm going a different route. I don't really. I mean, Zion is going to start having to prove that he's playable in DFS at this price. He is. We know he is. But I just want to point out, Houston. This is not the same Houston either. Houston plays slower. They all defend. Losing Sengun would actually make them better defensively by a lot. So I don't know that it benefits Zion really.
and Zion.
Well, I meant if Sengun played, I would take Zion. But
okay, yeah. So I have. I mean, look, I'm open to doing the Hawkins thing again. We really need to know about Herb Jones and Zion Williamson. Hopefully, we can get some sort of, like at least some read the tea leaves at the least sometime today, because that does, Jordan Hawkins 5,600. I'm probably not playing them if all these guys play. I still don't mind it. He's gonna chuck, and that's what I want in my guys. But I think that if they're out, I think we go back to Dyson Daniels also. We can even start considering a Kira Lewis conversation at 3,600, and then Joe Val and Ingram. This game becomes very stackable. Also, if Şengün is out, whether Şengün's out or not, I'll tell you what, I'm playing Fred VanVleet. Or if Şengün is out, Fred VanVleet becomes like my favorite play on the slate. That's the biggest difference, is that people don't often realize it. Like Şengün is like a triple-double guy. They run the offense through him. He's the assist guy. So when he's gone, the offense is running through Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green. So Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green, who are already in play for me, if we don't know information later, I'm going to be heavy on those guys. I wish I had more I liked on the other side. This whole game feels like a big stack with a question mark, but we just don't know who's playing yet. And the Şengün news is huge. The Zion news is huge. And so is the Herb Jones news, pretty big. So, really, really hard to analyze that one early in the day, but certainly something we can look for. Either way, Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, and if Şengün plays, Şengün. All right, Clippers and Dallas, the weirdest, the matchup of the weird situation, the Harden and Kyrie and all that stuff. It's kind of funny here. What do you got for this game, Sheets?
Yeah, I can't play anything on the Clippers until further notice. I just don't know what they're doing over there. They don't know what they're doing over there, but
yeah, they're trying to
fantasy wise, I just can't do it. And on Dallas, yeah, I mean Luka, I guess is okay. I mean, am I biased, and I'm almost being like okay boomer now, saying between Paul George and Kawhi, they'll try to be able to shut him down in some way. But maybe that's just kind of a stupid take. I don't know. So I don't know. I might end up playing nothing from this game. I might end up playing Luka, but I just don't. I don't think I can get to these Clippers.
Yeah, the one who's going to project the best, and he's playing a ton of minutes. I don't really know why. At some point, Derek Jones' minutes will start going, or at least to some extent, will start going to Jalen, to Josh Green. I don't really know why they're doing things the way that they are. I know they're winning, but I thought they would have wanted to develop Green, and maybe they're just happy just trying to play their best basketball. And if they're going to keep doing that, Derek Jones playing minutes, he put up 28 fantasy points the other night. He's 4K. Nothing is a priority for me in that game. Just wanted to mention the little piece of value because you know me, I love the late value, so I can always swap into something better. The other night was a great example, by the way. I had Crowder in all my spots, my utility spots. We hear the news about Anthony Davis out. Boom, they all switched to Rui. And Rui put up 44. It's the only thing that saved my night to some extent. All right, OKC and Sacramento, Sheets. What do you got?
So I guess we're supposed to keep playing your Chet guy until further notice. Shea at 10-5 seems, I don't know, it seems like a lot. What else do I have over here? Sabonis 9,900. I guess I like him. Fox remaining out. Did what's his name get freaking run the other day? Finally, or no? You mentioned this. You mentioned this that the problem with Sacramento is they have like all these guards. But Monk, there it is. He did.
Yeah, he did. He had a great game.
He went off. He not only did he go off, but he went off going 0 for 7 from 3.
He also had like the highest usage rate by someone not named Luka this season.
15 for 19 from the line. We know what he was doing, right? That's
like, he had assists. He had a 41% usage rate, which is basically like Westbrook in 2015. There is no way that I know it didn't happen the game before and people were like off it. And I'm sorry I didn't go heavier on it, but it's like Monk is the upside play, and if he's going to have limited ownership, I think we just go ahead and play him.
I agree.
I think it's the better idea. The one other thing to note, though, is like Kevin Huerter, who was really horrible to start the season, is playing minutes and playing a little bit better. He's 5,400. He put up 33 in the last game. Also, it was Portland, but again, I still think that's okay. They're supposed to be starting Keon Ellis tonight. He's the 3,900. I don't know if I really want to do that because they're probably just going to switch. It becomes Davion Mitchell or Chris Duarte. There's just a lot of guards, but Monk or Herder, I'm happy to say one of those two as an early look. I don't have any priorities on OKC, but I will add that you can always play Shea, you can always play Chet, especially while they're priced here. Lou Dort has been shooting he's been the best shooter in the NBA this season. I don't know if that can continue. So I'm not going to be chasing him every day. Although this does seem like the kind of matchup he could have a good game in. But mostly it's just the Monk or Herder for me. All right, and then we get to the hammer.
Okay.
What do you got here for the Lakers and Phoenix? Hard to do without Anthony Davis. No, not Anthony Davis, right?
Oh, he's still questionable or whatever.
As is Jackson Hayes, who also would get some of those minutes.
As is Bradley Beal. Oh, he's probable.
Yeah.
Can we play Bradley Beal? I'm currently getting nothing here from this game.
So I think that this comes down to like a strategy situation. If we think that by the time the other games that we like are locking, that Anthony Davis may not play. I know LeBron was really bad the other game, and I know that Austin Reeves let down some people, and really the only one of the guys who wanted was Rui, who was just awesome.
Yep.
But if Anthony Davis and Jackson Hayes, both of those guys are out, I definitely would want to do some things here, and that would include probably even going back to guys like Christian Wood. Maybe everyone else is scared, but certainly LeBron. So I think you can make like a just in case stack and use Anthony Davis, because if Anthony Davis plays, I prefer him over LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
They're pretty close. And then on the other side, you have Beal probable. Just going to be interesting to see when they start giving Beal the minutes. I don't think we can really do anything at these prices, but I know no one else is going to. So I just kind of wanted to try to see if there was a way we could find a way to play these last games and see if the Anthony Davis news can get us the right mix if we have 4 or 5 guys from between Sacramento, OKC, LA, and Phoenix. Unfortunately, as it stands now, none of those look like especially good plays. I'll just really quickly go through. As of right now, the priority, Ball, Kuzma. I like the idea of playing one of Herder or Monk. I like the idea of having at least one Minnesota guy. I really like Anthony Edwards today as a spend up or spend most of the way up. I like the idea of Embiid or Maxey and Fred VanVleet, Şengün, Jalen Green, that whole trio, depending on who plays, depending on whether Şengün plays. I might play the other 2, and I certainly am probably going to have at least one of those 3 on most of my lineups today for Houston. Just they're too cheap in my opinion for their upside, especially in Şengün and Fred VanVleet's case.
The Minnesota thing is intriguing. I'll give that one another look. The Şengün news is interesting, and Zion news is interesting. It's going to drive that game. I've yet to find something that's superior to the Charlotte Washington situation quite now. But again, those games start later, and stuff could open up. So I will be here with you live at 6, and we will deal with those changes then.
All right, sounds good, man. Good luck to everybody, and see you guys live at 6.